I'm in Europe, you can sleep at night in the public, nothing's gonna happen. But the other point is, I don't know also, you never know.
Welcome to the Sit Down, where we have conversations with creators from across this beautiful motherland of ours. My name is Makomboy, and today we are having a conversation with Nick. Nick is an amazing film director from Kenya and is here today to tell us about his beautiful work. Nick, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
So I want to jump the gun here, Nick, and say I want to go straight to this beautiful film that you made. And then from there, we want to be able to just have a bit of a conversation about what your thought process is like as a director when you're thinking about such films.
The time I came here, the thing on my mind was focusing on have a good life. Because now is a new life. Now you start over and over and over again. I'm still grateful that I didn't fall in the hand of the bad people, of the bad white. I just fall straight to the good people. Then they taught me the things that I know, wish I do, that make me forget about my past, the past things I've had in my life.
It's really astonishing that in a country founded by immigrants.
All right, Nick. So tell me about Demla. How did it come about?
I mean, Demla, I can't even explain, but it took me, it was a whole roller coaster. Like, I was in situations whereby I don't have control over anything. I'm literally going the flow. So seeing it coming into, like, when now everything came into play, man, it was quite amazing because I filmed Demla in 2018. Yeah, 2018. I'd gone to Italy for a summer program, a specific summer program that was also now the building block of my career, like how I started. When I started out in 2015, I'd literally come from this summer school, but I later went back in 2018. And so in 2018, when I went back, one of the cities that I lived was South Italy in Sicily. And Sicily, it's one of these cities in Europe. In Europe, there are normally like three entry points for immigrants coming from Africa. So the entry points are either you're coming through Spain or through Italy or through Greece, because those are the closest points in Africa, next to Africa. So now, since I was in Sicily, Sicily is just a huge city that also has a lot of Africans. You can tell that's an entry point because it has a lot of Africans. And so I was in this specific town city called Trapani. It's a coastal, it's a beach town. So it's next to Mediterranean. Now with that, me and my friend Maurice, we were in this city, another friend of mine called Jim, and we were literally looking for stories to tell around that city. And around that time in the world, that's when there was a whole issue of which is still an issue, but at that point it was all in the media about immigrants and immigrants coming from Africa going to Europe. And so since we were there and we wanted to do a story from there, we had other scripts that we could have done, fiction scripts, just to make shorts and stuff like that. But that town, since it was, it's full of immigrants and it's full of those kind of stories, for me it really felt, it's something unusual going to a town or a city in Europe but full of Africans, but all Africans there, ideally I would say, they're immigrants. So it really literally felt something to me, and I literally wanted to know, like, what's the case, what's the situation of this immigrant story. And for the first time now, I'm not watching it through news or broadcasters. Right now I'm literally seeing it face to face, like I can see the guys who, they're immigrants. So that's how we ended up doing that story. And literally, even the subject himself is not someone I knew. We were in Sicily for like in Trapani for like 10 days. And in those 10 days we were meant to before moving to another city, because we were in the summer program school. For those 10 days you are meant to rather get a story done from pre-production all the way to post-production, since there's a competition at the end of that week before moving to another city. So going down to that city, trying to get specific a subject. It's a city whereby, assuming you're in Nairobi and everyone is black, everyone is black, but now everyone who is black here wasn't born here, so you kind of know everyone is an immigrant. So now trying to go and asking any random guy, I have this amazing. I know you are in me. First of all, it's kind of rude going and telling someone, I know you are an immigrant, I want to do a story with you, because you never know. You never know the trauma. Probably is something this person wants to forget forever and ever. We ended up getting two amazing subjects. This subject for Demla is called Wisdom. He was our third subject. We ended up getting one subject, a Somali kid who had come from Somalia like 3 years ago, and he was ready to give us his story. But after we filmed the guy day one, then day two, when we were coming back to film, because it's a distance from where I was staying, the guy went MIA completely, and he never showed up, and so it was back again to square one. At that point you are like, okay, we are losing this, but we have to do anything and everything we have to do. So I remember, as we were walking around just to find another guy, we found this guy who went Maimonas, the Gambian guy, on some other street. As we were talking, so it was me, Maurice, and him, that his friend, his buddy who was skating, was just listening. His friend, his field is called Wisdom. Wisdom, just for some reason, he just jumped into the whatever we were speaking about, and he said, I think I want to be part of this. And and that's how he auditioned, and he got the character. And literally he said, I want to tell my story. He's a vocal guy. He's straight from Nigeria, vocal young guy who literally loves to be in front of the camera, and he's a rapper, so there is a performer in him that he wants to talk and do stuff. So man, we started filming Wisdom immediately that time. And we also, because we can't stay there the whole night, we had to, of course, go back to our hotel, then come back the following day and film him. But since two of our subjects had already, they had already backed down, by saying we're gonna come tomorrow. So what we did with me and my friends is, two of my friends went to the hotel with the equipment and everything. Then I decided to take the bullet and stay with him in town until tomorrow morning, so that wherever he's gonna go, I'll stay with him. Wherever he's gonna eat, I'm his bodyguard. He won't run away. That was the whole deal. And now the thing is, because they live, they're still immigrants. They are not still legally Italians, but they have been accepted. So the situation in a place like Trapani is that there are hostels for immigrants, because now it's a place with that pandemic. So now, since it was a summer, since now I'm down there, and he, we are friends, and he doesn't want to go to the host. Of course he wants to host me, but it's very hard to bring an outsider to the hostel. So we decided, he told me something like, there's a friend of mine who lives somewhere, we're gonna go and crash at his place. Then as we were going, I think the plan changed midway, and he didn't tell me. I had a camera bag, and then we had nowhere to sleep because we can't go to the hostel. But by that time it was 11 p.m, so the hostels have been closed. And so his friend had told him, I think he said something like, I'm coming with a friend of mine who's a filmmaker, I think. And the friend side said something like, no, he's a filmmaker, no, I can't host you guys. So now literally became a homeless for like that one night. And I remember, as we were walking, now I think we walked for like 2 hours, and I'm just asking him, are we not reaching to this friend of yours who's gonna host us? That's like midnight. And the guy just at that point is when he told me, even the guy said no, he can't host us. And so I was wondering, okay, so where are we going? And so ideally what he was doing, he was taking us to the equivalent of, say, someone in Nairobi. Someone who knows Nairobi is like you are walking, say, from somewhere like Kilimani, and you're just walking, you don't know. Once you reach CBD, the guy says, I'm looking for a spot in CBD where we can sleep. And so it's something like I'm looking for, let's go to Kencom. Kencom is a good
like
place
a
to
nice
sleep.
street corner.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, dude, yeah, and probably now the friend's place is somewhere like Hurlingham, so we already passed even there. So now that's when I knew, okay, this is it for the
This is
night.
serious. This is
Yeah,
brewing inside the documentary itself.
yeah, at that point, and it's hectic, So we went the equivalent of, say, somewhere like outside Hilton, like where people normally sit at that place. Yeah, so the equivalent of that place in that town, and we went there, and he told me something like, so let's sleep here until morning. Then when morning reaches, we continue with the documentary. And I was like, okay, but I was afraid because at that point I was paranoid. He knows I have a camera. I've known this guy today like a couple of hours, so he's an immigrant, I don't have his documents, so if my camera is stolen or anything, I can't trace this guy. So I was extremely paranoid, like that, like, do I have to put myself for this story? I mean, is it that necessary? So we went there. He went, took a bench. He slept. I also took a bench. So I used my bag as my pillow. I can't even catch sleep. It's around like 1 a.m. at that point. And the dude, once like everyone had their bench, like 15 minutes later, the dude was snoring. So I was like, man, yeah, for him it's normal. It can be normal, yeah.
It can happen, yeah.
It can happen, yeah. So for me, I'm like, at one point, I'm like, I'm in Europe, you can sleep at night in the public, nothing's gonna happen. But the other point is, I don't know also, you never know, you're in the worst street in Europe. We were waking up like now morning at 7 a.m. So now after we finished filming now, and I told Wisdom I'm gonna go back to school. We have 2 days of editing, because on the third day, that's when, it's gonna be screening and everything. And so Demla won Best Director, Best Film, Best DOP, Best Sound. I think it won 5 out of 7 categories, something that has never happened in that school, especially for like Kenyans or black guys or Africans. Yeah, so it won like five categories out of 7. And so Wisdom was there. Wisdom had come, and so the guys saw the subject and all of that. And so literally that was the whole Demla experience. Now when I think about it, I think about Demla in 2 ways. There is Demla the film that I shot, the one you can watch, and there is Demla the experience that I went through doing the film. It was one of the craziest experience.
The more I listen to it, the more I wonder, how did Demla change how you look at directing documentaries? What do you feel, looking back and looking at your work now, how did that experience influence how you direct films now?
So through Demla I was able to understand the real meaning of patience, especially for a documentary filmmaker. Literally, patience is key. Patience, because for documentaries, the difference between them and fictions is, in a fiction film, you have control over so many things. You have control over even the lines. Maybe an actor didn't show up today, let's change these lines quickly for another person. But for documentary, you don't have control over it. If the subject didn't come, you either change or wait until it shows up. But also the idea of trying to show your crew it's gonna happen, and you're sure it's gonna happen, and you yourself, you're not so sure it's gonna happen. It's something I picked up from that, and being positive with the project.
And I think that by itself wraps up this conversation. And what an amazing journey that was in the making of Delma. I keep saying it the wrong way.
Demla.
How do you say it? Demla.
The way it's pronounced, the way it's written, Demla. Yeah. And until today, I don't know what Demla means. But Demla, I don't know. Like, even when you see in the documentary, it's Demla, then into brackets, time will tell. And Demla is something when the Africans, they normally meet every afternoon at 4 p.m. just to chill out. Like, they have a piazza where they meet up. And when they meet up, I was just hearing some words when they were talking, because some talking Nigerian, Gambian, whatever. But the common word they will say is Demla every time. Demla, Demla. I think it means something like hi or something. And it was just an amazing word, like Demla, Demla.
And with that, I will say Demla to you too, Nick.
Yeah,
Thank you
Demla to
so
you too as
much
well.
for
Yeah.
Thank you so much for making time. Thank you so much for
No
coming on the
worries.
sit down. We appreciate you. We appreciate the time and just allowing us to understand what it takes to be able to tell a story. It's
Yeah.
not just a question of taking out your camera and filming. There's a lot of patience, there's a lot of commitment, there's a lot of trust.
Yeah.
And I think that's something every filmmaker is supposed to take out of this experience. So thank you so much, Nick.
Yeah, I really appreciate. Yeah, thanks for your time as well.
And that was the sit down with Nick. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you had an amazing time just learning what it takes to be able to make documentaries. And with that, I will say make sure you hit the like button, subscribe for more amazing conversations with creators from across this beautiful continent of ours. All right, and with that, see you on the next one.